Morning, City Council. Stephen Lytle, 322 West Giddens Avenue. I'm also the president of the South Seminole Heights Civic Association, and want to echo Tim's statements in saying thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak with you last week, and also want to thank Gene Duncan as well as the Florida Department of Transportation, specifically Stephen Benson, who have been very open and honest and transparent with us about the changes that have been taking place over the last week on our Highland Avenue, Violet, and Osborne intersection. The South Seminole Heights Civic Association has always been a vocal advocate of building partnerships with our government partners to proactively address the issues impacting our community. And for many years, our traffic and pedestrian safety concerns have plagued our neighborhood. And as a result, we've had a few things that have helped out. We're one of the few neighborhoods that still has speed bumps along North Boulevard. And then with Councilman Suarez's help, we're the first neighborhood in the city of Tampa to install the street mural for traffic calming measures. And although it wasn't on the streets we would hope, it has worked in the streets that it's on. Historically, we have been consistent in sharing concerns about Highland Avenue, though, which is essentially a 3-lane highway through our neighborhood. And as a result, we've seen traffic studies, we've seen traffic counts, and we've seen some mitigation to improve the safety. But most often, we've been hearing proposed solutions that are piggybacked with 2 caveats. And one is funding, and the other one is time. And it's clearly based on the quick action that we've seen over the last week that the real limiting factor was prioritization. Because we've seen a ton of success in this last week in addressing those issues. And now we also have funding from FDOT to address these issues. And currently we'll see funding from All for Transportation, we believe, as well. But what we don't have is time. And we need to make sure that we're taking action and taking a more strategic and comprehensive approach before another life is lost. I think each council member up there, whether it's Councilman Vieira in New Tampa, where they just had the traffic meeting regarding the bus situation, whether it's Councilman Cohen, where it happened on Bayshore, Councilman Reddick, where we had a grandmother who was hit, I believe, on 40th Street or 30th Street. It doesn't matter where you live. We're seeing issues with these traffic and pedestrian safeties. And so we just want to continue to echo the statements that, just like Tim said, we need to come up with some kind of committee that addresses these concerns, because at a grassroots level, nobody's going to know what's happening more in the neighborhoods than the actual neighborhood leaders. And so we need to address that. In South Seminole Heights, we're still looking for help on Osborne Avenue and reclassifying that as not a neighborhood collector. The speed limit is too fast. We need to drop that. We need to make sure it's appropriate for the neighborhood. And then also adding Highland Avenue to the Complete Streets project. This is a vision of what we've had for our community and coming from our residents, but these issues that we're talking about today are not singularly ours. It's time we develop a strategy that uses the data available from Florida Department of Transportation around crash data and the information from TPD to proactively address these pedestrian and traffic safety issues impacting the daily lives of not just the residents in our community, but the rest of the city of Tampa. Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to piggyback on something that was said by Mr. Lytle, which is yesterday I was having a conversation I just thought of with a friend of mine who was just elected to State House, a colleague of mine, Fentress Driscoll. And we were talking about how people our age, because I think we're about the same age, that there is a different expectation if you're an elected official in terms of responsiveness because of these things. The internet, email, etc., that people, whether they be millennials or I guess I'm Generation X, whatever my generation was, that we are more responsive and that we are more, I guess, if you will, interacting with the public because of the technology that we grew up with. So those are where things like town halls and being interactive on things like social media come from. And I think a committee like this would be consistent with that, because people more and more expect, particularly with people getting to elected to public office who are, 35, 40, et cetera, years old, for real responsive elected leadership. And I think that's a reasonable expectation given the technology that we are growing up with in our time. So thank you for that.